Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Chayam Udirayet Nashta Preshabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, entitled The Status Quo, Chapter 11, Calculation of Time, from the atom, text number 10. Thank you. Yamaschatvaraschatvaro Yamaschatvaraschatvaro Martyanam ahani ubhe Martyanam ahani ubhe Paksha panchadashahani Paksha panchadashahani Shukla Krishnascha manada Shukla Krishnascha manada. Translation. It is calculated that there are 4 praharas, which are also called yamas, in the day and 4 in the night of the human being. Similarly, 15 days and nights are a fortnight, and there are 2 fortnights, white and black, in a month. Okay, there's no purport, a couple of verses with no purport, but before we continue, maybe we can decipher what this means. So, it is calculated there are 4 praharas, which are also called yamas, in the day and 4 in the night. So that means like 3 hours, right? So then 1 yama is 4 hours. Yeah, okay. And similarly, 15 days and nights are a fortnight. A fortnight is half a month, calculated according to the moon. And there are 2 fortnights, white and black. Yes, we have a Shukla Paksha and we have a Krishna Paksha. Right now we are in Shukla Paksha. Yeah, we had Amavasya a couple of days ago, like new moon, yeah, when the moon is almost not visible. It's called Amavasya. And from this, the moon gets bigger again. So Amavasya is like, yeah, new moon, gets bigger again. And this phase, when the moon, from new moon to full moon, is called Shukla Paksha. Shukla means bright. So the moon getting more bright. And Krishna, it's not just the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna means also dark, black. So when the moon from full moon goes back to Amavasya, gets smaller again, it's called Krishna Paksha. So these are the 2 parts of a month, according to the moon calendar. So and here it said there are 2 fortnights, 2 half of this month, 1 black and 1 bright. So Shukla Krishnascha manada in the last line. So text 11. Tayo samuchayo masa pitrinam tat arhanisham dvautav ritu shad ayanam dakshinam chotaram divi. The aggregate of 2 fortnights is 1 month, and that period is 1 complete day and night for the Pitta planets. 2 of such months comprise 1 season, and 6 months comprise 1 complete movement of the sun from south to north. Okay, there's also no purport, but as far as we can understand, so the aggregate of 2 fortnights is 1 month. Okay, yeah, 2 half months is 1 month, and that period is 1 complete day and night for the Pitta planets. So 1 month in the Pitta planets is 1 day. Right. And we hear later that 1 day for the demigods are 360 days for humans. So 1 whole year for us is 1 day for the demigods. And from this we can also learn the calculation of the yugas, which we'll hear later, because the Bhagavatam is measuring then according to the years of the demigods and not according to our years. And later when we hear the estimation, measurement of a yuga, it's according to demigod years. And in the purport, Prabhupada explains that you have to calculate times 360, and so you come to this 4.32 million years, which is like 1 chatu of yuga. But actually it's measured according to the age of the demigods, which is 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000 years. And 1,000 for Kali Yuga, 2,000 for Dvapar Yuga, 3,000 for Treta, and 4,000 for Krita Yuga, Satya Yuga. So 1 day, as I said now, of the Pitta, these are like the forefathers. These are kind of heavenly planets. It's a nice reality where the forefathers, the pious forefathers go. And their 1 day is 1 month for us. So we can see they live longer. This is why they live so long, because they have different, because time is relative according to certain places, and so they have a longer lifespan. So 2 of such months comprise 1 season. So 2 months is 1 season, so a year has 12 months, so there are 6 seasons, and 6 months comprise 1 complete movement of the sun from south to north. Because we know that from Puranic understanding, the sun is traveling from north to south, what is called Uttarayana, and the other is called, what is the other one? And one is upwards movement and one downwards movement, relative towards Bhumandala, when the sun goes around Sumeru. And there's also a movement up and down from Bhumandala. And when it does 1 movement from south to north, so from down to up, this is 1 year. Okay, so text 12. Ayane chahani prahur vatsaro dvadasha smrita sangvatsara shatamdrinam paramayur nirupitam. 2 solar movements make 1 day and night of the demigods. Okay, so 6 months comprise 1 complete move. Okay, of course. Sorry, huh? Nobody detected my mistake, huh? 1 upwards movement is half a year, downward another half a year. So in 1 year it makes this up and down movement. And now it said 2 solar movements like this make 1 day and night of the demigods. And 1 day and night of demigods is 1 year for us. And that combination of day and night is 1 complete calendar year for the human beings. The human being has a duration of life of 100 years. Graharksha tada chakrasta paramanv adina chagat sangvatsaravasanena paryeti animisho vibhu. Influential stars, planets, luminaries and atoms all over the universe are rotating in their respective orbits under the direction of the Supreme, represented by eternal Kala. Okay, before I read the purport, which is also short, again this verse. So influential stars, planets, luminaries and atoms all over the universe are rotating in their respective orbits under the direction of the Supreme, represented by eternal Kala. So all the movable objects in the universe is also called Jagat, and Jagat means something like movable. It's a huge machine. The universe is a huge machine with so many movable parts, and they are all working under the direction of Kala, of eternal time, which is the representative of the Supreme Lord. Also in Sankhya, we hear that 24 elements, which is all the material universe, and then there is also one part, I think it's the 25th, it's time, which is, and then some said 26 is the Paramatma. So it goes more into the subtle reality, but it's all directed under the direction of eternal time. So purport. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the sun is the eye of the Supreme, and it rotates in its particular orbit of time. Similarly, beginning from the sun down to the atom, all bodies are under the influence of the Kala Chakra, or the orbit of the eternal time, And each of them has a scheduled orbital time of 1 Samvatsara. So Samvatsara is a year. No, Samvatsara avasha. And here's the word again. Samvatsara, orbit of the sun. Okay, the orbit of the sun is the Samvatsara. Oma Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitamina Tasmai Shri Guravinama Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangung Langai Tigrim Yat Kripatam Hangvande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabadantikam Chai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, was this entertaining, exciting? Whoa, we want to hear more? For some. When I started reading the Bhagavatam, I think this was my favorite part. This was, I remember my favorite part. Somehow or other I was into these technical things. I liked this so much. It gave me some faith that the Bhagavatam is, scientific and is very detailed, and this was actually a very important part for me. And when Prabhupada put it into a more theological light, then I was, but I want to hear more technical things. Now it's different, which is good, yeah. That we want to see everything more from Krishna's perspective. I want to see Krishna more in all these technical things. But in the beginning, when we are more materialistic, yeah, of course, and then this is very helpful. So it was very helpful for me in the beginning to hear all this information about the universe, how it works, how it's built. Fifth canto, of course, was also very important. And also this chapter, I always liked the measurement of time according to the atom. Wow, it's has such a strong title. And I remember when I was in university in 2001, I was studying. Actually, I started studying Buddhism and Tibetan language because I was reading Bhagavatam at home, and then I started to go to university. What was I reading? I don't know if I was reading already Bhagavatam, but somehow or other I was very much interested in Eastern philosophy. But I did not know that I was actually interested in Hinduism, what is broadly said in the university, Hinduism. Because I was definitely no Indian in last life. I have really nothing, my whole life, nothing to do with India. India was for me like a big question mark and something. I have no connection to India at all. But somehow or other I came into this yoga philosophy and mysticism and Vedic knowledge without knowing that it's from India. Don't ask me how this could happen, but somehow or other I was a little spaced out. And then when I went to the university, I remember I had a book which gives Singade Bhagavan Ki, where all the things you can study are inside listed. And I had to choose what will I take. And one was clear, but the other one was not clear. And then I was going, and then I thought, Buddhism, oh, that sounds great. I think I like Buddhism. Buddhism is really good. And Tibetan language and Tibetan culture, right? And I started studying that, and at the same time I was a real spaced out student. I was not so attentive to that what was taught, but I was parallel reading Bhagavatam. I had Bhagavatam already, and I was reading the Bhagavatam, and I thought this what they are teaching is actually Bhagavatam. That is Bhagavatam. And after one class, I had a discussion with one student. Some or other showed him Bhagavatam or something, and I was talking about Krishna. And I thought, yeah, it's all the same, some or other. And he said, what? We are Buddhists. We don't believe in God. And I was shocked. I was so shocked, and I thought, what am I doing here? And I immediately cancelled Buddhism and went into philosophy department and started philosophy. Yeah, that was a big shock. I was so spaced out. And then when I was studying this philosophy, there was also one lecture about Eastern philosophy. And this professor was very much into Chinese philosophy, actually, and not so much into Indian philosophy. And then everyone had to give a lecture, and all the students have to give a lecture and write a paper on one topic. And I wanted to do it about Vedic knowledge. And he told me, no, you cannot do it about Puranas or this and that because somehow they are too young, like according to their academic understanding, too young, and it's not what he wants to hear. And then I said, maybe I can do it about the Upanishads, maybe Ishopanishad. And he said, okay, maybe Upanishads are okay. Because he was somehow Mayavadi. I don't know what his prejudice was against Puranas. And then I prepared my lecture on the Ishopanishad, and then I gave the lecture in front of the students, and I quoted this verse, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamidam, and the Supreme Personality of God is complete and all that. And I did this 1 minute, and he cut me off. What? Because personality of Godhead. There's no personality of Godhead in Eastern philosophy, and restudy this again, present it again. He really cut me off and sent me home, more or less. And when I think now, of course, now I would smash him to pieces, right? Such a stupid, there's no personality in all Eastern philosophy. But there was another student, he did something about, I don't know what he was doing, but I knew this part of the Bhagavatam, and I gave him this, and I went with this Bhagavatam to the copy room, and we copied the whole chapter. Because I thought, this is very good for you to present something now about your topic. I don't know what he did, something about time. And so he got this knowledge of the Bhagavatam. We copied it out. So this was very important for me in the beginning. And now it's still not important, but it's interesting. And it's in that sense interesting because Srila Prabhupada's mood was definitely to present Vedic knowledge, especially Bhagavatam, in a scientific way. And even founded an institute for that, which is the Bhaktivedanta Institute, which should have been funded at that time with, I think it was $10,000 from the BBT. Prabhupada said the BBT, he requested the BBT to give to the Bhaktivedanta Institute every month $10,000, which was much more at the time, to make progress in this direction of preaching. And all of us know that Srila Prabhupada very much liked to challenge the science, the atheistic science, right? And this is a big part of Prabhupada's mood and mission. So in that sense, we should have some scientific understanding to some degree. So Prabhupada quotes here in this purport, Brahma Samhita, Yach Chakshuresha Savitasa Kalakrahanam Rajasa Masta Suramurti Rashesha Teja Yasyagya Yasamrita Kala Chakro. What is it? Yeah. Pramati Samrita Kala Chakro Govindam Adi Purusham Tamahang Bhajami. He very often quotes this verse in this regard, which says that the sun is the all-seeing eye of the Lord. And we have this also in the universal form, that the sun and moon are the eyes of the Virat Purusha. And this sun is actually working inside the Kala Chakra. There, this word is Kala Chakra. And Chakra means a circle. It's like the orbit. And all luminaries are working in this way that they're floating on this, or we call it orbit, like a path. And they're fixed by Kala in this orbit. And they will never change their course. They cannot. They're fixed. The whole universe's mechanics or workings are fixed by this Kala. And it's in the macrocosm of the planetary movements, or even bigger, in the sciences, there are galaxies and sun systems and galaxies. And I'm not sure if we believe in that, if this is something what is supported by Vedas. But anyway, there is this motion. And also in the microcosm, on the atomic level, they say there is a orbital movement. And all this is fixed by Kala. And in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse 13, there's also a phrase, Dara Yami Aham Ojaza, where Krishna says, I hold all these planets in their orbits. So in the end, it's Kala, but in the end, it's all Krishna. Actually, it's all Krishna's maintenance and idea and plan. And this is actually then the theistic vision which we should develop, that we should see Krishna in everything. And especially of course, not especially. Of course, we should see Krishna mainly in the deity, in the holy name, but also we should see Krishna's workings in nature. So And this is a very strong argument for the existence of God, which Prabhupada also used. It's called the theological argument for the existence of God. Telos means like a purpose. Like a purpose and a goal, that the whole universe is working according to a purpose and a goal. It's not happening by accident. There's some plan behind it, and because there's a plan behind it, there's also an entity behind it, which has an intelligence which is necessary that all this universe can actually work. Without the factor of intelligence, this universe could not be as it is. Because how or which factor is arranging all the elements of the universe to this big jagat or machine? And we have this Occam. It was not Occam, no, who was it? Who gave the example of the watch? I forgot. There was one philosopher who gave this example. If you walk through the forest or through a field and you find a watch, you will understand immediately someone did that. It was not growing out of the field. It was not just because of some rocks falling together or by other natural influences this watch came about. Someone made this watch. This is the product of someone, not something. So there are only two factors in reality which bring something about. One is natural and one is artificial, or in that sense by intelligence. So this universe has many similarities to a machine, to a watch. And if it's much more gigantic and complex than anything a human being could do. And because of that we think, oh, it cannot be intelligence. Because we couldn't do that. We have intelligence, and probably we have the supreme intelligence. So if we could not do this, this must have been happened by chance. Which is not intelligent to say like that. So it must have come about by some higher intelligence, God's intelligence. Or what can be the intelligence which brings everything about. So, and why? Because it said intelligence can be verified by 2 points if you find something in nature. High specification, and the other one is improbability. If you have these two, you can say it was the reason for this was intelligence. High specification means many elements arranged in a working way, in a purposeful way. And improbability means it's very improbable that this can happen, that this exists at all. Yeah? So if you have this, it's very improbable, the existence of this thing is very improbable, and it's highly specific or specified, then it cannot be by accident. It cannot happen by itself. How could it build itself, so to say? There must be an external energy, an external working to bring this highly improbable and specified entity about. Yeah? Maybe, I hope everyone could get somehow the idea of this point. But it's very interesting. It's true. Yeah? It's really true. Yeah? It cannot build itself. It's too improbable. And then we go back to life comes from life. One of Prabhupada's main phrases. Life comes from life. Which is a challenge. Because they say, scientists, modern trends, modern understanding, they say, they believe and want to prove that life comes from matter. Life means an entity which has life on its own, which has life symptoms, which is organic in nature, has some will to survive, has some will for reproduction, and the higher the entity is in consciousness, has a will for self-expression, and then, like humans, higher living entities have a will for fulfillment, for harmony, for love, and in the end, even for self-realization. And in the end, actually, for connection with the Supreme. Has a will on its own, is an individual. like matter, which doesn't have that. So, a living entity, which is completely different from anything non-living or material, they say it comes about through matter itself. Yeah. And there's no soul then. And what is all the beginning? Of course, they go back in time to the. Of course, there are many things which happen, like Big Bang and after this. But just in short, what is their point? And maybe there are now more newer understandings, and so this very improbable creation of life is it's ridiculous, obviously ridiculous. This is what's believed, that it was raining on the rocks, and the rocks were spilling out, cleaning out some elements, and then there was a big soup, the ocean or whatever, and inside that there were these different elements, and through the influence of course, the atmosphere and temperature, and then also some electrical impulse, the elements which were in this water or solution, whatever it was, some or other formed themselves, came together and built amino acids, which are building parts of a protein, which are building parts of a living organism. Right? The cell produces proteins inside in all this machinery, and these proteins are actually the last stage of development to, build the body. So, and we have this parallel also, because this idea came up this idea was probably around 150 years, something like this. Somehow, researched in this direction, and then in the, when was it, 50s or 30s, 40s, when they made this experiment. Who was it? Two scientists made this, Urey and Miller. They are called Urey and Miller, and they made this experiment, and they showed that we could build amino acids in our laboratory. And this was like, wow, we proved that life comes from matter, because out of some elements we build amino acids, which are the building blocks for proteins and all that, which is ridiculous, of course. But this idea was around 150 years, and it's reflected also in the literature, in literary sense, in this very famous horror story of Frankenstein. Because there you have it, right? He was a crazy scientist, so this is how they were reflected, this crazy scientists who want to imitate God's creation and make life, prove life is coming from matter. And he took dead bodies. This was his idea. I want to make a human myself. And he went to the graveyard and took dead bodies and built this thing, this monster. And how he put it alive? He put electricity inside. So he imitates actually this process of creation in the beginning of this cosmic soup, and he puts the electricity in. And then it moves, and he's alive, I did it. And then in the end, this monster created by him kills him. Kills the whole family, kills him. So in the same way, the crazy scientist who wants to, how to imitate God, he will kill himself in the end. He's playing with fire. And this is what modern science does. When we play with genetics and when we play with atoms and all that. We will create a monster which kills us. And we see this nowadays also in so many other inventions which are like praised as the latest development of humanity. 5G, it will save us from so many problems, and we can have, total knowledge through 5G and total control. Things like this. They're all Frankensteins. Okay, so it's a little bit scientific, what can be said. So Prabhupada wanted to prove life comes from life, and of course not all of us can do that, but at least we have some little understanding, especially Sankirtan devotees. We meet some people on the street. It's impressive if you have some knowledge, and I saw that very often, that most of people claim to be scientists, and atheists have no clue. Most of guys on the street who claim to be scientists and atheists have no clue. And if you have just a bit understanding of what atheism actually is, what science is, you'll smash them like anything. You have to know their philosophy. You will know their philosophy better than they themselves. It's rare that you meet then someone who can defeat you. Very rare. It's not that we go on Sankirtan to defeat people. We should be, full of love and giving and distribute books and be friends of everyone. But sometimes it might happen. And if you have a mind like this, it's good to practice also. But in the end, I have to really say the scientific preaching is for scientists. Like the scientific preaching on a bigger scale is for devotee scientists who are educated in the right way. And most of us are not like this, so we shouldn't go into this and make a fool out of ourselves. Right? So this is the reason why Prabhupada founded this BI. Good. Then Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter is called Knowledge of the Absolute, Vijnana Yoga, Wissen vom Absoluten. And there Krishna starts with saying, Maya asakta manaparta yogan yunjan mat ashaya asangshayam samagramam yata gyas yasi tachshinu. Listen now to me. I explain to you something. Absolute knowledge. Asangshayam samagramam means like you will have knowledge incomplete and it will destroy all your doubts. It's spiritual knowledge about me, how you put your mind on me and become attached to me in mind, and it will clear all your doubts. Yeah? Gyanam vigyan, what is it? Gyanam teham saitam yach gyat, what is it? Idam vakshyami asheshataha yach gyatva neha bhuyon yach gyatavam avashishyate. I will explain to you now, and Prabhupada translates the word jnana and vigyan, because it's a jnanam vigyanam sahitam. Sahitam is like together. I give you jnana and vigyana. And most of us would say gyan means theoretical knowledge and vigyan means like realized knowledge. But sometimes Prabhupada says vigyan means scientific knowledge. So in this translation, most of you might know, 7th chapter, 2nd verse, how does Prabhupada translate jnana and vigyan? Someone remembers? It says phenomenal and numinous knowledge. How does he come to that translation? Phenomenal and numinous knowledge. So jnana vigyana saitam yach gyatva, what is it? Vakshyami asheshata. I will explain to you this knowledge, and when you understand this, there's nothing else further to be known. This is what Krishna says. When you understand this, it's like Vedanta. There is nothing remaining to know if you understand that. What is Jnana and Vigyan? And Prabhupada says numinous and phenomenal. Phenomenal means the knowledge of the Phänomene, meaning Erscheinungen, appearances, material knowledge. Just like this. It's just a fancy word for material knowledge. Knowledge about the material things which appear, which are perceived by the senses. And numinous means that was not able to be perceived, what cannot be proved actually by science, because the translation of the word numinous, it comes from Latin numen, and was a term found by Rudolf Otto, which was one of the first theologians, to explain what is divine. And numen means actually will, arrangement, like divine will. Numen means kind of an aspect of God which is not embodied, not perceived, but still is working in the creation and it's there. So it's in one sense an impersonal aspect of God, or the will of God, which makes everything work. It's the numen. So numinous means knowledge about, in one sense, just the spiritual. But the spiritual in connection with the material. Yeah, the numen. And then he said the numen cannot be proved by science, which is exactly what we say. Bhakti mama vichanati yavanyas chasmi tattvataha. The truth can only be understood by bhakti. And this is what he says. You can only perceive the numen, the divine, through your own experience. Your own experience. And he, interesting, that said either so two aspects. I forgot what were the Latin terms. Mysterium tremendum tremendans and mysterium fascinans, he said. One is, the mysterium is like the secret, the the imperceivable, the secret. Mysterium. Mysterium is meaning like in old cults, they had like a secretive meetings, and myos means shut your mouth. After this you cannot say it. So this where the word mysterium comes to, not say anything about it, what we did. So the mysterium is also the secret. And mysterium, the one is the mysterium, or the divine experience, which makes you, not shocks you, but where you have Ehrfurcht, awe and reverence. Meaning when you experience God, it's huge, or He is huge, and you are praying, Aishwarya. And the other one is the mysterium fascinans. Fascinans means like attraction. It means like more the loving aspect. And it is kind of madhurya, right? Which is making you very happy, and it's very loving and very attractive. So I found this very interesting, that they have similar understanding. So Prabhupada says that if numinous knowledge, and says this is spiritual knowledge. So, and then in the third verse of this chapter, Manushyanam sahasra shu kashit yatati sidari yadatam api sidanam kashin mangveti tatvataha, that almost no one understands that. This biggest secret about Krishna, Manushyanam sahasra shu, out of thousands of people, maybe one strives for higher knowledge. Nobody is interested in that. Who asks questions? What is God actually? Is there a God? What is God? And who is God? First question should be in search for God. Is there a God? Yes or no? And when you understand, yes, okay, what is God? And then the conclusion should be, God is a person. And then, who is God? Because there are many options on the market of the religion. Some say Jesus is God, maybe some say Buddha is God. Some Buddhist traditions say is God. Some may say, I don't know, Sai Baba is God, I don't know, and Amma is God, who knows who is there in the market. But if you compare all of these options, out comes Krishna is God, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? Because Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashaha Shreya Gyana Vairagya Yaschava Shanam Paga Itingana. Because he has 6 opulences complete, and no one else had that. And he is the God who does not have to be God to be God. Krishna doesn't care to be God. He has something much better to do. Prabhupada explains in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it's not like Atlas holding the universe or holding the earth. He has his energies doing this for him. Yat Shaktir Asti Jagadanda Chayayadanta. It said, Eko Piyasau Rachaitum Jagadanda Kotim, Yat Shaktir Asti Jagadanda Chayayadanta, Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam, Govindam Adipurusham Tamahang Bhajami. And this supreme entity is only one, Eka, but out of him come millions of universes, millions of universes, which are expanding from him. And he is entering into all of them. And how is he entering? He is entering in all the atoms. Andantarasta Paramanu, Paramanu Chayantarastam. He's situated in every atom which are spread all over the universe. This is the line which is our Shastric reverence for Krishna is in every atom, isn't it? Because Prabhupada always says Krishna is in every atom. But where is the Shastric reverence for that? And I found only this so far. Maybe if someone else of you found some, maybe in Bhagavatam somewhere else, but this is from Brahma Samhita. So, someone searching for the Supreme will come to this conclusion. So, Manushyanam Sahasrashu, no one is searching, of the humans, no one is searching for God. And those who search for God, hardly one of them understands Krishna, really. So many find some answers, what is God, or believe in this and that, but very rare that someone is a bhakta. So bhaktas are very rare, and this is one of the reasons why they are so dear to Krishna, very dear to Krishna. And then in the 4th verse, Bhumir apo nalovayu kang mano buddhir evacha ahankara itinga yangme bina prakritya ashtada. And Krishna says, gives now indications how to know him. through matter. It's very interesting that, I don't want to go into detail now, but it's very interesting that the material world is like a starting point for God realization or Shastra. Be it Bhagavatam, be it Brahma Samhita, be it Vedanta Sutra, and be it Bhagavad Gita. Yeah? Of course, Prabhupada wants to immediately present Krishna as supreme. We jump directly to this realization and this knowledge. But Shastra is so kind and is very natural to start with that what you can perceive. And what are we perceiving? The world around us. Vedanta Sutra starts with a definition of the Brahman according or in connection to the observable universe. God is that from whom everything expands, from whom everything comes. So the world is like indication or a pointer towards the Supreme. I found this always very interesting, right? That the matter and the universe is actually very important for God realization. Prabhupada says, of course it's for the beginners, Virat Rupa and all that, but somehow or other it's important. So also in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna explains, now I will explain to you knowledge, which is the end of all knowledge. You will know me in perfect, without doubt, and how he starts to define himself according to matter. Bhumira Puna Lovayu. I am the entity, these are all my energies. Pina Prakriti Ashtada, these are my separate energies. So that what you can perceive, these are my energies, this is me. But apariyametastranyam prakritin vidime param chivabhuta mahabaho yayedam daryate chagat. But there is another energy, another entity, which is the soul. It's different from matter. And it's trying like crazy to exploit the material world. Yeah. Etatyonini bhutani sarvani tyupadaraya. Ahangritsnasya chagata prabhava pralayastada. With this verse. And the 6th verse where Krishna says, this living entity, this mystical living entity, spiritual living entity, soul, has its birth in both energies. In matter and in non-matter. Tatyonini bhutani sarvani tyupadaraya. And then he says, but I am the whole universe. I am all of that. I am this whole display. I am its creation and its destruction. And a couple of days, I don't know, I gave lecture in Bhagavatam or where was it? Where the Prabhupada quoted this line, Ahangritnasya Chagata. I am like everything. So Krishna equates himself with matter. Krishna equates and says, I am this energy. It's not that I'm exclusively it, as Prabhupada says. God is everything, but not everything is God. But there is a strong connection. That Krishna is not different from his creation, and different, of course, too. So creation, material world, the observable, can be used to see Krishna, to see his wonderful workings, to understand that this creation cannot come about by accident. It's actually a wonderful display of God's power and mercy and genius, how everything works. And the real scientist, the spiritual scientist, will see God in his research. And he will see, wow, this world is an amazing display of God's power. So as we go into a, gallery and see a wonderful painting, and then you think, wow, how could he do that? How could this artist do that? So their painting is reminding us on the artist. So it was a little bit technical. Sorry for that. I tried to follow some or other, as far as I can, the mood of the Bhagavatam. So there was not so much Leela and this and that inside. But these are interesting points that we should try to see the Shastra as clear as possible and study and research and understand what it means. And it's interesting how Prabhupada always puts it in connection to Krishna, so that we can really learn to see Krishna in everything. And Krishna wants that from us. And I quoted this line before, Darayami Aham Ojasa, where Krishna says, I'm holding up all the planets. And in this chapter, this is yoga, the yoga of the Supreme, Purushottama Yoga, 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is very interesting. In these 4 verses, Krishna again equates himself with the creation, with the sun, with the moon who gives the taste to the vegetables. And then when he says, I'm in the heart of all living entities, from me come remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. So we should see Krishna in all the workings. And this in the end is pure Krishna consciousness. That we see Krishna externally, right, in the display of the nature, but also maybe in the karmic situation of the world. And even though now these crazy times, we try to see Krishna inside, but also in our individual lives, we try to see that this is all Krishna. And a pure devotee, the purer a devotee is, the more he accepts the arrangements of Krishna, and he's not lamenting and not fighting it anymore. There's no ego anymore. Yeah? So we see in the great acharyas how they accept all Krishna's dealings and are always happy. You have no problem with nothing. Okay, thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki. Any questions? What is a Truti? What is a Veda? Yes? Who was first? I don't know. Maybe you.
When you spoke about your professor from university, I got reminded that today many approaches and scientists they claim that the Vedas were created by humans gradually, and their proof is that there are in some Upanishads, for example, and also the Bhagavad Gita has also connection to these Upanishads. There were philosophies mentioned,
which came later.
After 500 BC. For example, Buddhist philosophy.
Yeah.
And we know that Buddha was born 500 BC. So what can we offer them to prove them wrong, actually?
Okay, I have one simple argument, and use it or don't use it, but this is what Prabhupada said, that the author of the Bhagavatam is Vyasadeva, who is Trikalagya, and this Prabhupada explains also in this purport to this verse, the first canto, and he knows past, present, future. So this is the reason why things are mentioned which are chronologically happening after the writing, so to say. So this is our spiritual, mystical answer, and which might satisfy general devotees. Some maybe not, and maybe a scientist will not be satisfied with this. But we are not there to, prove on a material level our Shastra. And in the end, there might be points in Shastra which we cannot understand or where we might have doubts, but these are more or less details. The majority of Shastra is very clear, very convincing, very powerful. And I was thinking, I also went at times into aspects of like this. But the more we practice Krishna consciousness, the more we experience Krishna, and so these things are not so relevant. And the other thing is that we are also accepting that we cannot understand everything, right? So in the beginning also some things like this were a little maybe bothering me, but actually it's detail. And what is in the end our preaching is our character, our personality, our Krishna consciousness, which should be our approach. Yeah. And such things are then for our scientists and for our scholars who really know Sanskrit, who really know history, and who there are so many points and which can be found, and it's a big topic, of course. But I think this is my answer. Yes.
In Prabhupada's times was prominent chunk theory. What is this all about? Chunk.
In Prabhupada's time was the chunk theory.
Yeah, now there is explosion. And Prabhupada's times was chunk theory. Maybe you know about this chunk theory?
No, I don't know. You heard Prabhupada saying like this, or it was
like chunk theory and then this.
Then the Big Bang.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, thank you for this information. Yeah,
I didn't see mentioning in the books.
Yeah. In general, I don't want to speak much about this, but the Big Bang theory, as they call it now, also went through many phases and there are different aspects, and not everyone agrees with all of this. Like, as far as I know, Einstein himself did not believe, in the beginning at least, in Big Bang. Because he saw there will be a problem for the science itself. He believed in a steady state universe theory, meaning universe is eternal. There was no beginning, which solves the problem of the creation, because he knew we cannot explain how this came about. This is too crazy. So they chose that way. And only later, because of this redshift, what they understood, he was also convinced that, okay, maybe this was my greatest mistake, that I was believing the universe had no beginning. So even big scientists at that time, they were disagreeing, and still they disagree, and there are many aspects of this, and who knows, in a couple of years this might change completely and they come anyway to an theistic understanding. In that sense, Big Bang is actually good for us, because it gives at least a beginning, what we are also believing in. Mataji?
I have heard also this expression of chunk theory, and as far as I remember, it was connected with the Big Bang theory in a sense that this understanding was there that there's just some chunk of matter, some mass of matter, and then through this Big Bang it all comes alive. Something like that.
Okay.
But I've heard and seen quotes where Prabhupada uses this term of chunk theory.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, who else? Yeah.
Actually, at the moment we are at Big Bunch theory, I heard, because now they believe that the universe is expanded, then it falls together, and then it expands again,
Yeah.
falls together. And that's very interesting because it's a bit more close to the Vedic idea, because it's more circle. You know, it's not one creation, and then it's finished, it's a circle actually.
Yeah.
Creation, destruction, creation, destruction. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, this idea is also long around oscillating universe theory, that it comes and goes, yeah. And this is also why, it's true, it's a circular movement, it might be close to our understanding, but at the same time it's also a loophole to explain again atheism, because they say, it always comes and goes, there is no need for like an external influencer, right? But yes, now it's the multiverse, actually multiverse is now maybe oscillating multiverse, yeah, so they always have something like this. But, so we should understand our understanding very nicely, according to Bhagavatam, the universe God's created in a wonderful way by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who created it, who is completely in control and takes part in the life of the living entities inside the universe if we turn towards Him, and then all the problems get solved.
I just have a comment that I think some interesting information could be found in Back to Godhead magazines in Prabhupada's time, because probably, I think, Prabhupada wanted to have this vision. I didn't read so much Back to Godhead, but I think there are many articles dealing with this topic. It could be interesting.
Yes, so much to research. Good, thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, and Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Premanande.